I'm back. I hope everybody's come back too, ready to finish off this project. Um, we're talking about the golden rule today and what that means. Remember what I said a little bit ago? Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. It's so simple. And you think about it. If everybody felt that way, if everybody practiced this rule, we would have a much nicer world to live in. Ta-da! That's it. It's that simple. And I know it's not that simple. It's hard sometimes to get along with people that maybe you don't really like, and of course there's always going to be bullies out there, whether you're 10 years old or you're an old man like me. There are always people that are going to try to pick fights with you and stuff like that. But overall, I think it's a good rule to live by. And it's the old one too. I know you've heard this at school. If you want respect from somebody, you have to give respect too, right? We all know that. And so this is not a real, surprise thing to talk about. I talk about being kind and being honest and being decent to people all the time because that's how I've always tried to live my life. Am I perfect? No. I've been mean, I've been nasty, I've done things maybe I should never have done. But as I've gotten older, I realize the more I can practice this golden rule thing, my life is easier because I don't really argue a lot and I don't get into fights anymore and I just try to get along. So anyway, everybody got your pencils and your colored pencils or your crayons and stuff like that? Because we're going to get into some serious coloring here, and I want you to have everything together so when we get into this in just a second, we will get going and get it done. Again, do your best. Don't strive for perfection, especially with maybe these letters and stuff, because if you have never really practiced this is a little bit difficult. And but don't give up. The more you do, the more you practice, the better you get. Just like everything else, whether it's soccer or spelling or math or, making silly faces, the more you do, the better you become. And that's what I want you to do, okay? So, let's begin. You're here, okay. Got your pencils? Let's, before I took that little break, we did the basics of my design. And again, you don't have to do it exactly the way I did it. This is how I interpreted what I wanted to do. You can bring your own ideas into this, just so long as you keep the golden rule as that centerpiece, right? That centerpiece in your artwork. It's actually in a drawing or even a painting or even in advertising, the art and everything. This is called the heading. It's a heading. And it means that's the important thing that you're going to do and highlight. Okay, so I got my words, I got my button, I got the big hill, I've got the mountains. I want to put a little strip right down here of ground because I don't like to draw right up to the edge. And then let's put some clouds in here. Keep in mind, the more clouds you put in, the less sky you have to put in. There's a good reason for that. There we go. And I'm going to put a few up here like this. Maybe a little one up here too. Choose your colors. I used yellows and oranges for my letters because they kind of look golden, right? That was my reasoning behind it. But if you don't want to use those colors, that's cool. You just don't have to do that at all. Okay, choose your colors. You know, I don't know if you know this, but colors can help make any artwork that you do, it gives it a feeling. Like if you were wanting to create fire, then you would use hot colors. So you're trying to get the idea of hot, you use hot colors. If you are trying to get something to look real cold, you use cold colors like blues and greens and you know, those kinds of colors. And it's the same thing with what I want you to try to do here, because you're trying to say something really, really cool about the golden rule. Then use really colors that will help create a feeling of warmth and richness, right? And what I did is, with mine, I did, instead of doing it all in yellow, I used oranges and yellows. So I'm just gonna go one yellow, one orange, one yellow, one orange, and fill these letters up. Because when you fill them up, you make them like into a solid block, right? If you just scratch it and leave a lot of white behind, you don't get that same effect. So let me do a little bit of coloring here. I'm gonna go ahead and over here skip. You know, I was talking about the term golden rule is really, really an old saying. And originally, the first time it ever was in print was in the Bible, right? It was a real, it happened to be in a religious text, which there's many kinds of religions, and they all have their own texts. They have their own books and they're kind of Bibles, right? And so that's where that's the very first time anybody wrote those words. It was in the Christian Bible. But you got to remember something, and this is kind of, and I always thought this was really fascinating, that some of the most incredible and beautiful art that has ever been created go back all the way back in time, thousands of years. Some of the most beautiful art that has ever been created has been religious art. And I'm not just talking about Christians. I'm talking about Buddhist art and Hindu art. There's a variety of religions that are very, very, very old, and they have their own texts, their own books, and they also have their own art and architecture. And I tell you what, the first time I went to Europe, I was all about looking at the art and looking at the architecture of all the cathedrals and all of the places of worship that are like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. And I tell you what, they're just gorgeous. And again, some of the most beautiful stuff that has ever been created by man was created for religious reasons. Anyway, I just thought that was really kind of cool, that beautiful art that was made all over the world, in China and in India and in the Middle East and in South America and of course in the United States. But anyway, I always thought that was just really cool, because really, honestly, I think that's one of the first places I ever saw what I would call art was in the church I went to a long, long time ago. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of a cool thing to learn about. I always like to learn about where art comes from, and that's why I love going to museums and going to art galleries and stuff like that. Because being an artist, I want to see everything, right? I want to be able to see all kinds of art that was created by very, very talented people back in their day. I love, and I tell you, if you're really kind of into that, if for those of you who go to college, go to the university, they have classes, art history and art appreciation, and it was one of my favorite classes when I went to college. It was just love seeing how other people did it a long, long time ago. Okay, let me see. Oh, I've got one more word. Yeah, the golden rule. Hey, I remember when I was in the second, third, fourth grade talking about the golden rule in my school. And, I thought it was cool at the time, and I still think it's really cool now that it's, there are people still talking about it and still asking people to treat people the way they want to be treated, which is only fair, I've had that conversation with kids before, about bullying, well, they did it to me first. That kind of a thing. It always kind of drives me nuts that we have a choice. We all have a choice. Nobody is making you be bad or good to somebody. It's your choice to do it. And so trying to follow the golden rule as much as you can, right? Sometimes it's really hard. I admit that. It is very, very hard to do sometimes, but I think it's worth it personally. Okay, let's see. Let me get that. Yes, we've gotten those. Cool. I think that we're on target. I don't know if we're going to be finished with this today, but I really want you to finish these. In fact, what you could do is you could make something like this and then cut out this badge, this Be a Golden Kid, and wear it. And then when people say, what are you talking about? Why are you wearing that thing that says Be a Golden Kid? Well, you can kind of tell them, hey, I try to treat people the way I want to be treated, and I think that's a good way to go, And I do think it's a good way to go. Don't think I'm going to be able to finish this today, but I want you guys to finish this up. If you don't, you can see these videos anytime you want, perhaps. Get them out. Replay these so you can get everything that, we talked about here, and finish up. I really would love to be able to see these things that you're working so hard to do. Anyway, well, listen, it's been nice to get out of the house, come up here to the Oklahoma City Arts Council office to do these videos. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that you're continuing to stay with not just me, but all the artists and everybody from the Arts Council, bringing you these video art classes, dance classes, things like that. Stay safe out there. It's been beautiful out there. I know it's a little chilly, but if you can get out with your mask and a jacket and stuff, kind of get outside and get some fresh air. I know that I needed that. Boy, I've been stuck in the house for a while, and I don't like that. So anyway, thanks for joining us. I will be back with a new project next week. Take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.